Hey everyone, it's Mafalda and this is my March TBR. So in March, I'm not participating in any readathons again because I just have a lot of books that I really want to get to as soon as possible. And since there aren't any readathons that really caught my attention, I decided to make a priority to read those books. So I have 5 books on my TBR, so let's just get into it. So the first book that I'm going to be reading in March is Orlando by Virginia Woolf, and I'm actually reading this book for university and I'm super excited to get into more of Virginia Woolf's novels. And also I love this cover of the book. This was actually the only one that I found and it doesn't really fit with my other Virginia Woolf books, but I just really like this one for some reason. And honestly, I don't think I will do a very good job at explaining this book, so I will just read you the back because I think it encapsulates the book very well. And it says, Orlando is a playful mock biography of a chameleon-like historical figure who changes sex and identity at will. First masculine, then feminine, Orlando begins life as a young 16th century nobleman, then gallops through the centuries to end up as a woman writer in Virginia Woolf's own time. And I think it's like written as a biography, but it's about a person that obviously doesn't exist. And like the synopsis says, I think this book deals a lot with identity and I'm super excited to read this one and to analyze it in class. And yeah, that is the first book that I'm going to be reading in March. The next book that I'm going to be reading this month is for the 20-something book club and it's Tell Me How You Really Feel by Amina May Safi. And we've been picking such good books for the 20-something book club, me and Casey, so I'm really hoping that I will love this one as well. And this book follows Rachel and Sana, who once had a very bad date and they decided to never date again and they kind of hate each other since then. And Rachel is really into movies, she's an aspiring director, and when she's casting her senior film project, she realizes that Sana is the perfect person to play her lead, so she has to come in contact with her again. And I'm just so ready to read this book and for it to be super cute and for me to fall in love with the characters and their love, because obviously by the cover I can tell that they fall in love. I haven't read a sapphic romance in a while and I just need it in my life. So if you want to read this book with us, please join the book club, and I'm so excited to read this one and discuss it with everyone by the end of the month. The next book that I'm going to be reading in March is actually one of my most anticipated books of 2020 and I can't believe I still haven't picked it up, but I'm finally picking it up. The Invisible Life of Addie by V. Schwab. I've heard so many amazing things about this one that I'm just so scared to pick it up, you know? I'm just so scared that this will disappoint me somehow, so yeah, that's why I'm only picking it up now, but I'm super ready to dive into this book and to feel all the feels and to give it a 5-star at the end, because this is definitely a 5-star prediction for me. And this book follows obviously Addie LaRue, and in the 18th century she made a deal with a devil, and with that deal she is made immortal, but at the same time no one really remembers her and everyone forgets about her once they cross her path. And then one day in the present day she meets a guy named Henry, and Henry is the first person that actually remembers her. And so that leads them on a journey to find out why Henry remembers her and no one else does. And yeah, this is a 5-star prediction. I am hoping I will love it, and I've heard so many great things about this book that I just have the highest hopes for this one to be a great read, so I'm super excited to read this one. The next book that I'm going to be reading this month is actually a nonfiction book, because I've realized that this year I think I only read like 1 nonfiction so far and I need to read more. I have so many books that I want to read in the nonfiction category, so this is one of them, and it's I Am Malala by Malala, obviously. And this is a memoir about Malala's life and her fight for education and when she got shot and everything that happened in her life. And she's just such a powerful woman. I can't believe she's my age and she's done so much. And I'm just so interested in learning more about her life and her as a person. So I'm super ready to read this book. I've heard the audiobook is great for this one because it is narrated by her. So I'll try to listen to the audiobook while I read this one physically. And yeah, I'm just super excited to read this one finally. And the last book that I'm going to be reading in the month of March is probably the book that I've had the longest on my physical TBR, so I just need to finally pick it up and read it, and it's Renegades by Marissa Meyer. I've hauled this one like a year and a half ago or something, and I still haven't read it. I'm such a big fan of the Lunar Chronicles by Marissa Meyer, so I still can't believe I haven't picked this one up yet. But what really made me want to pick it up was that Connor Stompanato made a video all about this trilogy, and he just spoke so highly of the series in that video that I just decided that I needed to pick it up and see what the hype is all about. So I'm finally picking this one up, and the only thing I really know is that this is about superheroes, and yeah, I think that's it. It's about superheroes, which are called the Renegades, and it's in a futuristic society, I guess. And that is all I know, and I don't like to go into series knowing a lot about the plot, so yeah, I'm excited to pick this one up. It's a chunky boy, but I'm ready to read it and finally get it off my physical TBR, because like I said, this is probably the book that I've had the longest on my physical TBR. I just need to finally pick it up. So these are the 5 books that I'm going to be reading in the month of March. I have Orlando by Virginia Woolf, I have Tell Me How You Really Feel by Amina May Safi, I have The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue by V. Schwab, I have I Am Malala by Malala, and Renegades by Marissa Meyer. I'm super excited about this TBR and for the month of March in general, because my favorite season is finally here. Spring is almost upon us, and I just love spring and the warm weather and all of the flowers, and it's just super pretty. So and I'm really hoping that I will post more in March, because in February I kind of slacked because I was super busy. So I'm really hoping that in March I can post more videos. Please tell me down below if you've read any of these books and what you thought of them. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe down below if you haven't, and I will see you on my next one. Bye!